John Klexton, I think you all know who I am, hopefully. 1016 Lake Pointe, Grosse Pointe Park. I was a Grosse Pointe resident before I became a librarian. I was a firefighter, EMT. I married my wife, who was from Grosse Pointe Park, because it was a great community. And once I came into Grosse Pointe, I realized what a great community it is. We have a great school system, we have a great library, all the things that you want in the utopia society. Okay, we have. Well, I chose a master's degree in library science, and I chose to work in my community. All I wanted to do was serve my community, from the kids, to the adults, to the senior citizens. For 17 and a half years, I think I've done that, and I'm still willing to do that. I love my Grosse Pointe Park and Grosse Pointe community. I love my library. But as a resident, I have to say that what's been going on the past months is ridiculous. You know, yes, I'm the union president of the libraries, but we have gone over and over with several meetings. We have gone to fact finding. We have gotten a bipartial report. Why are we still doing this? This is absurd to me. I don't know the answer. Well, actually, I do know the answer. Follow the fact finding report. It's that simple. However, apparently nobody wants to do that. Why are we not settling this? It is causing bad strife in the community. The employees' morale has gone very low. We need to solve this right now. Tonight, tomorrow, next week. Let it be done. All the other problems that we have, we can continue on. But it needs to be done. And I need my support from my community representatives of all the Grosse Pointes to back that up. It's on your hands. You need to get this solved.
Thank you. Yes.
My name is Eileen Wolschlager, and I live at 310 Moran Road in Grosse Pointe Farms. And I want to take a little version. I want to thank John. He helped me at EWAL with my granddaughter, who had a hematoma at here. She hit that piece of apparatus at the exit where people who are taking books, stealing books, whatever, she hit that straight on. And I went up and I did ask someone at the front desk, and she said to go over to the library. This is a 3-year-old with a hematoma at here. Went up to John, got an ice pack, put it on her head. I will never forget you as a human being, grandmother. I had to go home with this big welt on her head. The other thing I have to talk to you about, I'd like all of your libraries to have surveillance video of your parking lot. I can't prove anything, and I'm not accusing anybody. I just paid, well, the car just got fixed, and it was $1,500. And I'm trying to figure out where it happened. It was on the passenger side of my car, a red Honda. And my husband took it in to have it serviced. And they do a walk around, and they discovered a big, huge white scrape. I did call, I think Jessica, I spoke to you about it. And we were trying to figure out where it happened. And I wasn't looking for any payment. But I know when I hit cars, and I have done that, I put my number and name and phone number on the windshield. In my case, I spent an hour looking for the person, but that's beyond probably what most people would do. The thing is, I think you do need surveillances because you have the students coming out, they're new drivers, and people backing up. I know half the time the handicap parking, sometimes people park there, they don't have a handicap license. And there's issues with also Grosse Pointe Woods, with people parking. Today I was over there, I couldn't pull out because they parked in the fire lane there. And I'm disabled, my neck, I'm like trying to look, practically have to get out of my car and, just sort of figure out how I'm gonna do it. I know it was a big white van, we surmise, a big white van, because their wheels are high, and they don't have when you turn, you really have to go straight out. You can't turn because you turn into the passenger side of the car next to you. So I would highly recommend surveillance, because this, I could have maybe I could have given you the date and said, yeah, this white van is there. And you at least could tell them, you have to be a better driver and a more honest person. So that's what I want to say. Thank you.
Good suggestion. Anyone else would like to speak? Yes.
Ed Hill, Grosse Pointe Farms. As you know, I've spoke to you many times about what's going on with the contract and everything else. I first spoke to you and discussed this and said you needed to get on this back in July. I spoke in other times. I'm going to echo a little bit of what John said. We got the fact finding. I tried to say, hey, watching for what was going on, let everybody sort this out. You have George Ramel, one of the finest labor legal minds, who handled the fact finding, issued his opinion. It's before you. Adopt and follow the fact finding. I mean, there's no sense in wasting more and more taxpayer dollars on it. You adopt the fact finding, get a contract settled. This short-term disability and getting rid of the sick bank, you kick it down the road, you keep negotiating. If that's not the advice to be given, it should have been. This needs to get resolved for the good of the library and the community. We're a better community than keeping this thing out there, putting all the resentment between everybody. We had spent so much time when we were doing the search for a new director, the strategic plan, getting everybody to work together, and even further back doing things to get people to work together. This is blowing everything up, and it really reflects poorly on our community. There should be no reason, if John's saying adopt the fact finding, I don't see any reason why you guys can't go into closed session tonight and get this thing rolling forward and get a contract moving. It is important to our community that we do this, and George went through everything detailed. There's no nonsense to be discussed. You follow that, we're done, and we move forward. Thank you.
Yeah, go for it.
A little bit echo what John and
State your name.
I'm sorry, Steiger, echoing what John and Ed have both said. Not only is it creating strife here in the library and morale, I'm sure, I think it's gonna have an impact when you roll out a village campaign. It's going to affect the community's perception of this whole process. So get it settled. Accept the fact finding. Thank you.
Laura Orm, Grosse Pointe Park. Jessica, I appreciate you mentioning your new branch managers, but I also want to express my concern and dismay on what your decision was to do to John Claxton and remove him, giving him the option to, which was kind of a catch-22, either leave the union and take a demotion and take a smaller salary, or he could be removed from his position and put behind a circ desk, which I think is a great injustice for this community. I have an answer as to why this contract has not been signed. It is the gross mismanagement of this board. And if it is not resolved soon, quickly, I will be leading a group of concerned citizens that will be looking at the management of this board. You report to no one. You are a self-managed, self-governing board who does not have the management skills to read a report that you paid for and follow the plan. This is ridiculous. You all need to be adults and do what's right by the employees of this library system.
I'm the widow Corrado. Laney Corrado, I live in the city of St. Clair. Well, I sleep in St. Clair, but I live at the Grosse Pointe Public Library at 10 Here's my fantasy. I'm a GPPO board member being briefed on the contract up for bargaining. Let's put us back in June, or whenever it began. Okay, so what do we have? I don't like unions really, I haven't worked on one, I'm relatively new to this board, so what is this, like the Teamsters or something? No, it's a lot smaller than that, it's not a big group. Okay. So what do we have pay-wise? 2 to 2.5%. Makes sense. Is this in line with, other comparable libraries? Well, no, actually it lands us about in the middle. Okay, well, what about benefits? They wanna keep what they have. Okay, well, how long have they had this insurance? More than a few years. Okay, good, what else? Couple of smaller items, days off, et cetera, et cetera. How long is this proposed contract going to be? 2 years. Okay, here's the thing. Pretty much status quo, let's do it, because we do have a millage coming up soon, yes. So fine, let's give it to them, get the millage done. We'll revisit contracts in depth in 2 years. It's pretty new to this thing. That was my fantasy. I didn't see anything crazy about that. But that isn't what happened. So I had a patron say recently, I've been reading the papers, I've seen your picture, in which I appeared as Barbara Stanley, which was very embarrassing to me that picture got in the paper. I'm not sorry I'm crying, because I've spent 20 years here. And when my husband died, he knew he didn't have to worry about me. He loved this place. It was so wonderful. The community loved it. I've been here for so long. He knew that I could make it without him, without any big pay raises, with nothing, just to do that. He knew that I would be okay. Well, guess what, Big Daddy? I'm not. So I had a patron say he's been reading the paper and seeing all of these things in the paper. This patron comes in all the time, very intelligent. And he said, so have you settled the contract? And I said, no, we haven't. And he said, oh, what a bummer. And when he said that, I realized, you don't have a clue. It's not affecting you. You don't know what it's like. So I turned back around and I said, yeah, it is a bummer. To the tune of $1,300 and counting. That's how much a bummer it is. That's coming out of our pay. It's constantly coming every payday. Take out more. And the reason, okay, it's not taking one bit of pay or money away from you. That's why there's no rush to settle. I'm not being mean, I'm just stating a fact. There's no money being taken out of any portion of your lives at all. There's no, I'm sad, I don't feel like going to work today, what's happened to the place that I used to love, I don't want to talk about it, I sound like I'm complaining. I want to say a few things about being the best and going above and beyond and having compassion. As I said, there's no rush to settle from your point of view, because it's not taking one bit of pay or money away from you. Only those under contract are being affected. No one else in the library is being affected. Other people have had raises, they've had bonuses. I'm only talking about the people under contract. This could easily have been avoided. It was your choice to place the insurance premium increases on the staff. That was a choice. The library could easily have paid those inevitable increases. We know they're going to happen. The library could easily have paid those continually, knowing that eventually a contract would be in place. That was a choice, plain and simple. A choice that did not take into account how this would negatively impact a stellar staff that is consistently told how great they are and what they do, how appreciated and what an asset they are to the community. Either that was not taken into account, or it was, and there was a complete and utter lack of compassion, and I hope that wasn't the case. That's what I'm hoping. I'm mystified as to the lax attitude about nailing this thing down, meeting quickly, routinely, making it happen. But again, you have nothing to lose. The community does, as they see legal fees skyrocket to about, I don't know, is it 50 grand now? Currently, it's going up constantly. Staff is losing, and here's the thing, none of it will be reimbursed. This is why I don't know if a lot of people realize this. This is why I'm talking about it. In fact, there's even a law saying it won't be reimbursed. Okay, so that $1,300 is gone with the wind, never to be seen again, no retroactive pay, it's not gonna happen, there's nothing, it's just gone. $1,300, okay. So I wanna know if you had a nice Christmas, I hope you did. I had to make some sharp adjustments, and I had to make some very sad decisions. The fact that my feelings about this holiday are changing is beside the point, because I'm down to this one. Jesus was born, so why am I giving you a gift? That's where I am right now. But regardless, I had a plan because I am a somewhat department head. I always like to get the ladies in my department something for Christmas, so I was going to make a contribution in their name to one of their favorite charities. That was a way that I could reconcile it with my beliefs about Christmas. I couldn't do it. So as my token of appreciation for the wonderful work they do all year, I had to give literally a token. It was embarrassing. I had to make believe that I was doing the Little Princess movie, and we'd all feel crazy about it. It was much more token than gift, and that hurt me. But see, I couldn't do it. Now I'm going to say something that I guarantee is true. In years gone by, had this happened with no hope of the recompense for what we've lost, we would not have had to cover the cost of the insurance increase. We just wouldn't have been asked to do that. Or B, we would have received money back at the ratification of the contract. It would be couched in something, I don't care what they would have called it, such as longevity pay, a signing bonus. It doesn't matter what it would have been called, a bonus. There would have been something, and I know that. I can state that unequivocally because I knew people that worked here. I knew them for 20 years. That's what I'm looking to you for now, and whether it's something you want to admit to or not, the reason I am having financial hardship and loss of income is because of you. That is exactly the only reason that I'm having it. I'm not angry, and I'm just saying this is a fact. And I'm calling on you to take a golden opportunity, because you have it within your hands to simply and easily move forward. You've had a paid fact finder do the equivalent of the Consumer Report's highest recommendation for you. It is something you can trust. It's not made up, it's not unfair, it's factual and researched and trustworthy. So let me say that the reason the Grosse Pointe Library has the status that attracted all of you, and even our new director, is that it was earned year by year with hard work and effort on everyone's part. And it's kind of like Johnny Appleseed planting the tree. Some of those people are gone now, and some of them didn't even get to see the tree when it was giving shade. But they did the work. Many of us are still here, did the work. And we created, years later, a well-running machine. This is why you thought to yourself, I'd like to be alive with a place like that. I like the way that place runs. I love the library. So I'm asking you to remember that and to recognize the very staff that created the much-loved community asset you're holding in your hands, because it literally is in your hands what is going to happen here. And I want to say that on Labor Day, when I received the notification that we wouldn't be ratifying the contract, and also it happened to be the anniversary of my husband's death day, so I was, of course, depressed when this bombshell hit me. I went to Marine City, and I walked the waterfront, and I thought, what is going on? What do I do? And I saw this sign, and I looked at it, and I thought, I'm going to ask myself the questions on that sign about our contract, what we're asking for. And then I'm going to ask myself as if I were a board member. And I will tell you, when I looked at it, I saw yes, 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 yes for staff. But I'm going to ask you the questions, and you can think in your mind if you can answer yes to what is going on here right now. And it's from a beloved institution. I know many people in this institution around the country. Number one, is it the truth? Number two, is it fair to all concerned? Number three, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And four, will it be beneficial to all concerned? And I ask you from Rotary. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Deborah Hay Karcher. I live at 831 Fisher. I'm a bit of a newcomer to what's going on here, but I'd like to echo what Mr. Clexton and some others around the room have said. Like I said, I'm just getting into what's going on in the library. It was a busy time, obviously, in the fall and winter with the holidays, but now that I'm back and able to focus on something, as a resident and a taxpayer, I'm deeply confused and concerned about why there is no contract. I'm also an attorney, as it happens. Why people have been working since July without any contract is extremely concerning to me. And why then I found out that Mr. Rommel, a well-known labor law specialist, has given a fact-finding report that the city and the taxpayers paid for, cities as it were, and the taxpayers paid for, and yet no one's willing to accept it. It's a fact-finding report that neither side is 100% in love with. It doesn't address everything that one side or the other likes. That's the point of a fact-finding report, to find a middle ground. And it seemed like that would be the very reasonable solution to this problem, to be accept the fact-finding report and put it into action. But I understand that that has not happened. Just as a taxpayer, I'm very concerned about what's happening with my tax dollars and why they aren't being spent in furtherance of the resources that I expect in my community, and instead they're being spent on needless legal fees and other stuff that's just been going on for months and months. Meanwhile, we have a library staff. I know a few of them. I also have 2 small children, and at times have spent a lot of time in this library. And there are certain librarians who I haven't seen in years and yet greeted me by name today. My son's 6 years old, and she watched me be pregnant with him. I know it's been that long since I've seen her, and she remembered my name and she knows my children. That's a phenomenal resource for this community. That's something I never would expect here or anywhere else, and yet it occurs. The staff and resources we have here are precious, and why they aren't being treated fairly is completely bewildering to me, and why this hasn't been settled over the course of 6, 7, 8 months is beyond confusing to me and very concerning to me as a taxpayer. Thank you.
Hi, Jack Weston, 412 Lincoln. I'd like to address the board as both a taxpayer resident as well as a partner in a law firm that has a significant municipal law department and represents a number of townships, cities around southeast Michigan. I should start, I've read Mr. Rummel's report. Mr. Rummel is very well known in my firm. He's very well thought of in the municipal law arena. His report was incredibly comprehensive. And I think I echo much of what was said earlier in that he's trying to find a middle ground here, I think. And that is really sort of the goal many times in any sort of a legal negotiation is, everybody's not going to be happy with it, but it should be something that everyone can live with. And I really think that Mr. Rummel has hit this on the head. During the fall, I kind of, from a distance, knew this was happening. But I said, it's going to get done. Just a couple more months, it's going to get done. Well, now I'm here. It's been 7 months since the contract expired. It's been since mid-November since Mr. Rummel's report came out. And yet it seems the wheels are still spinning. And speaking as a lawyer, I know in a situation like this, when the wheels are spinning, the legal meters are running. And I understood even back in the fall that we may have spent, as a taxpayer, may have been spent a multiple of the initial amount in controversy as far as the premiums on the healthcare benefit. So I would just urge the board to, with all due haste, try to come to an agreement, try to find a meeting of the minds. I think Mr. Rummel's report was spot on, and so I would just urge you to use haste in trying to come to a resolution before it fractures the community any further.
Yes.
Eileen Proudlock, 826 University Place. I just want you all to really consider what these employees have been saying today. When you walk out those doors and you look at those employees out there, you walk into every branch in our community, you look at them and you realize that they're your coworkers, they're your neighbors, and they're members of your community. and you really take into consideration what's going on in your personal lives. You are personally affected by your actions and your willingness to not act on certain things, their financial well-being, their health well-being, and their future goals and expectations. This fact-finding report, if you look at it, I understand you guys are trying to push through the short-term disability plan. It's crazy. Look at the fact-finding report. Go with it. There's no reason you don't have an educated person in the middle coming to an agreement and not using that information to your best advantage. It's ridiculous. It's time to settle this now.
Any other public comments? Hearing none, moving into trustee. Trustee comments. Any comments by trustees? Hearing now, I'd like to make a motion to enter into closed session and take a roll call. Is there a second? We'll take a roll call. George?
Yes. No comments?
Yes.
Bob? Yes. Liz? Yes.
Yes.
Sandy? Yes. Sam?
Yes.
All right, thank you. We are now in closed session.